This is the ultimate guide to building and scaling your business online. So instead of adding to the noise, I'm going to show you an actual system that turns struggling content creators and early entrepreneurs into consistent, predictable business operators. So if you're a beginner or early stage entrepreneur, content creator escaping the viral trap, or just someone who wants to turn their skills into a real online business, then you're exactly who I made this for. Because here's the thing. Scaling an online business is not about hustling harder or posting more. It's about having 3 systems in place: a winning no-brainer offer, a content system that builds demand, and a simple sales system that converts. This course shows you how to do each one step by step. With that being said, let's start with a little section on niche, and then we'll get into the other sections. Business, wealth, motivation, those are categories. Those are not niches. And I'm actually going to go to the board on this one. So we hit the board. So niche is going to be a specific person with a specific problem that wants a specific outcome. Boom, right? And we say my man went and got some gains. Okay? All right. So all a niche is a specific person with a specific problem that has a specific outcome. And here's the thing to keep in mind is that in the beginning, you don't have to hold so tight onto the niche. As long as your offer is so well crafted, you will learn your niche, but you don't have to hold on to it too tightly. So don't let this hold you up in the production process. I'll show you what I mean. So your job as the creator, as the entrepreneur is, this is you, help this person get this. So I help new creators post daily using AI tools. I help Uber drivers start business online. I help shy creators become confident in 30 days, right? These are all different things different examples of niches and different things that you can do as a creator. And I think that's the part we have to not overthink is, who do you help? I help beginners. I help business owners. I help content creators. What do they want right now? More views, more money, get healthier. What offers or what shortcuts, what frameworks do you offer to get them there? I have a course, I have an ebook, I have one-on-one mentorship, I have this product. These are 3 deep questions to ask yourself to help lock in who you're going to start targeting. What transformation am I uniquely built to deliver right now that can get real big results for? I think too often we underestimate our own journey, right? I think we underestimate the value that we can bring, right? We all are adults that figured out many problems in our lives to get to this point. And those same problems is what somebody else is struggling with as they're coming at their stage in their life. So I was reading 12 Months to a Million, and in the book, he was talking about this lady who invented the poo-poo spray for the bathroom, right? Her husband left stinky bathrooms, and she created a product to stop that. And so she's marketing it to all the wives out there who have the same issue, that have whether it's kids or family members, right? Just not respecting the smell space in the area. And it's something that's so comical that we don't even think about it, but you can create so much off of that, just understanding that if you stop focusing on solving your problem of being broke and focus on solving other people's problems and getting them from point A to point B, you can create so much. Question 2, who is already the closest in this transformation? And is there such thing as a bad niche or a good niche? Let's jump into that now. There is no particular good or bad niche. It kind of just depends on what you're comfortable with and what realms can you traverse, right? So you can make an offer for homeless people, but you're probably not going to get paid a lot. You can make an offer for millionaires. You might get paid more. You might be comfortable with beginners or college kids, but they might be broke. And these are the things that we need to keep in mind when we're choosing our niche. There is no good or bad niche, but it's understanding the limitations and the average of that population. There's no good or bad thing. You can always switch niches later, but you have to understand what you're going into. If you're going into it with total beginners or people that need convincing or urgency, you have to really understand the customer profile that you need. So it's not so much the surface level of just this person does this occupation, but what type of person, is this person ambitious? Is this person want to be validated, right? So we kind of go into deeper and deeper levels, but just understanding that on the surface, you want to go for somewhere that has money, if that's what you want. If you want to go for more transformation or service-based, you would go homeless or non-for-profit or something like that. So the first thing is just understanding what you want, and then you can have the niche adjust to it. If your objective is to make as much money as possible, as fast as possible, you want to make a giant offer for millionaires, right? Most of us don't have that toolkit or have to develop that. But if you can make a millionaire money, or if you can make a millionaire fit, or you can make a millionaire have better relationships, those are something that you can work with. So I hope that helps clears up the niche thing, because I know that's such a big thing that creators run into. And when you're going through finding your clients and finding your customers, the big things you want to look for is people who are ready to take action now, people that are already spending money or okay spending money, people that are creating content or already in the gym. Like, you want to hit where there's momentum and where there's heat, versus like trying to drag somebody into something. And we can talk about that a little bit more in sales. But keep this in mind when you're picking your niches. You want to pick clients that that you can help get results the fastest, and people who kind of cherish that relationship. And then the next part is just whose life gets the kind of a continuation of what we were saying before. Whose life gets the biggest immediate upgrade from working with me? Again, focusing on the emotion too is, yes, this person wants to get in shape, but do they want to be more confident? Yes, this person wants to stay with their spouse, but they just don't want a stinky bathroom, right? What are the things that we're aiming at to solve? So hitting that emotional layer is the real sauce. And so because you already know what your transformation is, you understand who feels the pain the most and who wants the solution the fastest. So I'll talk to creators that want to make 10K, 30K, 50K a month, and maybe they're stuck between 2 and 8K. Maybe they're posting and they're not converting, and they're tired of spinning their tires. They're ready to get something going. Those are people that I'm talking to. And once you get good at your niche over time, you'll get to a point where they look at your content and they're saying, bro is literally describing my life. And remember, the niche is important and you do want a direction, but what's even bigger than that is going to be the offer. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Now we're going to talk about perhaps the most important part is your offer. If your offer is unclear or boring or weak, or you're just another person in the crowd, your content will always underperform. Your sales will always underperform. Your offer has to be an insane offer that makes giant results for your client, and that makes everything else so much easier. You even start thinking in the way of your offer. And once you know what you offer, your niche can become fluid, or you can zoom in or zoom out on different sections. So let's start with the 4P formula for making your offer. You're going to have your person, you're going to have your problem, you're going to have your product, and you're going to have your price. So attacking each P, we know your person. Now, what is the problem? And this is what really changes something from bad to good. Is this a vitamin, or is this something that somebody literally can't go without? So a bad offer would be something along the lines of, I help people who are behind the desk 8 to 10 hours a day live healthier lifestyles, eat better, fix their spine alignment, prevent cancer, and even help them create a lifestyle so they can help their kids, families, and others, right? You want to create something that's really impactful to the person and really shows the work and the depth that you can go to. Your product or your process, so this is just saying how you do it. Is this, again, a one-on-one mentorship? Is this a club that you run? Is this or you're a dating coach and you have a facility and you run speed dates and yada, yada? You know what I mean? What is your process? And then what's your price? Our job is here, is we want to make the problem as painful as possible and connect it to a story as possible so that people can really understand how this changes their day-to-day. It's not just the thing that you sell, it's how you position it and what it means in their life story. And so those are 4 Ps. And one way to do this is through this matrix of health, wealth, and relationships, right? So you have relationships here, you have wealth here, you have health here. And with it, you want to make sure that you're hitting all 3 as much as possible. And that's what we did with that latest example. Is not only will I help you get your health together, but it will also help you improve your relationships at home and with the program. So they join your program, they find other people doing the same thing, going through the same struggles. So now you increase their network, you increase their health, and you create their net worth because now they know these new people. They have this new confidence that they can go out there and command a better price, right? So you hit all three major things that a person's going to want. They're going to want their health to be better. They're going to want their wealth to be better. They're going to want the relationships to be better. So the more you can combine all three of these, the better results you're going to get. If you just focus on the baseline, the surface level, I help men get girls versus I help you do that to do this to do that. You're creating depth with your issue. So again, as we're looking through this is all about A to B. This is about understanding the core issues that your client is going through and how you help them get through it. And we're about to go into price here in a second. You want to do something that is worth your time and worth their time, right? If you're selling a program for $1, there's something wrong. If you're selling a program for $10,000 for $30,000, even if they can't afford it, they'll still say, I see the value in it. I see why other people are doing it. I see what the results that they're getting. Versus if something's $1, you're not even going to trust it to pay the dollar. So you want to do something that creates a big enough impact where you can sell it for a high value, but also do it so that it makes a difference in your life. And this kind of goes into a concept that a lot of people don't understand, right? So the lower you're following, right? So if you have 100 followers versus if you have 10K versus if you have 100K. So if you have 100 followers, you want to sell something for 10K. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. I know that sounds different than what we're thinking or what we're told. But if you can get one person out of 100 people to buy your $10,000 product, that changes your life exponentially if you've never had that in that short a time before. Versus if you're, where we usually start off is we selling candy bars. We're getting 50-cent profit. We're selling $10 ebooks, which are all valid ways. But if you had 100 people buy 100 ebooks, you would have $1,000. So you want to create something that's so high value that you can just attack it and you can actually create the snowball as you gain popularity. And I'm just using followers for a generic thing because we're using content, but however many people you're exposed to on a daily basis, you can substitute this in with. You want to create something that helps you grow the business. If you're starting so small, and that's what we all do, it's not an uncommon thought to think I need to sell something for $5 first before I can sell something for $10,000 or $1,000 even. But the smaller you are, the less reach you have. So you're spending all this energy just to do something that's not even it's not going to help you at the end of the day just to get one sale. And then once you get to 10K, then you can have the 10K products and you can sell, let's say, 5K products, right? And then once you have 10,000, then you can do from the 10K, you can have 100K products, right? Alex Hormozi, right, will have a 100K mastermind, whatever. You pay 50K, 100K, whatever the number is. And then he has a $10 book you can buy on Amazon. But they're already Magic Johnson. They're already Alex Hormozi. They're already this well-established name where if this person sells you something for $10, you know that's going to have so much value in it that you just believe just based off of the name brand because they have 100,000 followers, or Mr. Beast has 100 million, right? But once you're starting off here, you need to focus on the big numbers. So I always suggest you start off with something bigger, even if it's 1,000. Just something that's outside of your comfort zone that actually gets you momentum going into your business. And then once you get to a certain level, you can do a value ladder. You might have seen this before on stuff like Russell Brunson's work. Once you have that value ladder, you have your high ticket, right? You have your free, you have your low ticket, you have your mid ticket. And then this would be your subscription, right? So this is what people talk about when they say they need 7 different forms of income or 7 streams of income to become a millionaire or whatever. You start off with, I'm suggesting you start off with the high. And then from there, you can create a mid-ticket. And for a service-based business, this would look like a one-to-one mentorship. This would look like a group coaching might be your mid, and your low might be a 1 week crash course or an ebook or access to your course, right? And then might have something free, something, an online resource, some kind of cheat sheet, and you might have a Patreon. These are all different situations that you can have for your business, but what we have to keep in mind is we need to start high, or the highest that we can start, even if it's $100. We can change the number in our head, whatever your goal is, but your product or service needs to be higher so that you can actually have a margin and create something. And that's why a lot of people get stuck. It's like you're stuck selling something you're passionate about, but you're not making any money. You're making all these sales, and you're still broke. And so that's one thing that really stalls the content creation process. You're going to have resistance in your process, right? But you want to get as many results as you can as fast as possible so that it creates the positive momentum you need to get to where you need to be. And long story short, that's what you need for your offer. And so that's the important of the offer, is that it makes it effortless, man. You know, what to talk about, who you're speaking to, what stories matter to the person that's on the other end. And then you could mix in trends and AI and all these different circumstances to make what you want to make. But first, you gotta know what can you solve uniquely. And so this is the last point on the offer, and we'll get to content. Once you come up with an offer, find 3 to 5 people in your niche and ask them, how is this actually, like, can this product solve what you need? So you're gonna reach out, you're gonna give them something of compensation. Hey, I'm not here to sell you anything. I just wanna ask you some questions about what's going on in your business, and if there's some things that I'm doing that could help. I just need some information. Hey, I give you a free coaching session, whatever, come up with something, free and easy that you can exchange just for 15 minutes of their time. So you get 3 to 5 people in your niche that you actually want to work with, and you do market research calls or just picking them up, Zooming them, whatever. What works for you? What issues do you have? Does this sound like something that could even help? And then that's how you mend your offer and how you create it piece by piece, even helping you readjust the niche, all these different things. You have to actually talk to people in the field. Just come up with something small, something easy. I'll give you a quick coaching session, audit, find something that's valuable to them, but you just want to do a 15-minute market research call. Does this help you? All right, now that we've made the offer, let's find customers, let's find clients that we can actually sell the offer to. This is where content comes in. And it's strategic, not just to post. This way, we're not posting for views, trends, or just speaking into the void. This way, we actually are targeting who we want to target. All right, so we're going to go to the board on this one. And so this is a good old funnel. This is a good old funnel. And these are 3 types of content that'll help you get to where you're going and the purpose of each one. So at your top, you're going to have your story. This is your story and your attraction content. This is going to be top of funnel. TOF. You have MOF. And we have bottom of funnel. And all of this we want to end up in being a intake call. Or I'm just going to put an end call. So you want to get somebody that goes through your content and they say, hey, I want to get on a call. This way you're bringing in customers versus going outbound. So your story and your attraction content, your story content, this is going to be the content that pulls people towards your vision, towards your mission, that makes people say, I don't know why, but I feel like I can trust this person. And these are steps that you have taken in your journey, the lessons that you've learned, your beliefs, your witticisms, your stories that show the client the relatability, and this makes you you. So often we're scared of being vulnerable or being, obviously you don't share too much detail, but you want to share a time that you struggled. And we think that us being perfect sometimes is the real solve, like, oh, I conquered all. But people really are interested in that underdog story, the steps that you took to get out the mud. That's what brings people to you, because everybody can relate to being down, not where they want to be, in shame and confusion. And everybody can relate to wanting to get to a place, but you're actually showing the steps. So that what is what attracts people to you specifically versus another person's protein bar, right? They're attracted to yours because of the stuff behind it. They might be green energy, or they might be stand for the homeless. They might stand for breast cancer. And these are stories, these are ideas that people can relate to, and they say, oh, my relative has cancer. I will back this company. I will go to this marathon, and it's all part of marketing. And you're actually, of course, you're putting your efforts towards solving something, right? Your middle of funnel. This is the tactics. This is your tactics. This is your trends. This is your tools, right? So this is where you put your AI tool that you have, and this is how you use AI video. This is how-to videos. This is the list of the best websites, the best places to do this. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you go down to the actual technical whereabouts of your situation. 10 ways to speak better, 10 ways to dress better. Google's adding this new tool. How does that affect your business? Things like that. Your unique frameworks. This is the middle of the situation where you prove your authority and you show that you understand like the problem better than somebody else does, that you know how to solve it, and that you're the authority on how to get this done. And then your bottom of funnel is going to be your objections. So this is going to be your objections. These are going to be common things that, why wouldn't I work with you? Why should I work with you? It's going to be your testimonials. This is going to be stuff to help people kind of get over that fear of working with you. And you're going to answer it up front. They might call it, hey, I've had a XYZ coach before. It didn't work, and this is why. I've worked with an agency before. They didn't help my ads. They didn't help my podcast get better. And so this is where you're attacking all of that head on and showing why you're the person to work with. So this is your bottom of funnel objection handling, you of calls, testimonies, different things like that. You're probably going to make the least of that. So you're probably going to do 60% middle of funnel. This is going to be your authority, why you're the person, showing that you know how to solve the different issues. 30% story and your attraction. And I say that because people care about your story and they want to hear your story, but more importantly, they want their problem to be solved. You proving that you can solve their problem is going to be the most important. And then you put a story on top of that of how, of your journey or other people's journeys, then that just makes it all tie in so much more, but also always keep your eye on the client and what they want. So middle is going to be the most, story is going to be 30%, and then maybe 10% is going to be your objection, testimony. This is really for people who are on the edge of working with you. You're going to show a few of these videos. You might have it in your VSL or your sales letter on your page. This is the last thing they need to kind of get over that hump or that fear of working with you. And then, of course, depending on where you're at in your journey, these numbers are fluid, depending on where you're at in your journey. If you already proved your authority, again, if you're already big, you already proved your authority, you might go more into storytelling. If you already have a big following, but your last thing is just sales, you might go in on the case studies on the bottom of the funnel. And all these things you want to, again, end up in being an intake call where you convert this attention into a sales call. This is the actual ecosystem that you're going to build, and the way that you post and the way that you connect your videos is what makes it special. So at the end of the day, like I said before, the easiest way to sell something high ticket is going to be in-person intake calls over Zoom. Somebody's not going to send you $20,000 if they don't see your face. So at the end of the day, that's where you want to get everything to go to. Eco ads. So you're going to have ads that engage and bring people to your page. This is on your short form pages. You're going to have short form content, you're going to have long form content, and you're going to have IG stories. And through all of these, you're going to go through the DMs and be able to contact and engage with your clients. Now, all of your content is going to point to one major video or one major resource. So whether that's your origin story, whether that's your free course, you're going to have a long form video that, again, shows your authority, shows your story, and it's going to be a big conversion piece for you. And once you have the people's interest, once you have people coming in, then you build your authority and your trust through the conversations that you have. So you're having actual conversations with your people who are interested in you and interested in what you have going on. This eases the sale process where you're talking to like minds and not just random people on the internet. And again, you'll have that lead magnet that all of this adds to. So let's say, we'll go through this in sales too, but let's say you go through the DM conversation and they're like, can you show me this, show me that? Then you take them to your lead magnet, which may be a long form video that you have. And then from there, you'll be able to follow up, or they'll be able to follow up with questions, anything they need. You send them to the intake form, and then you want to go to take the call. So this is the ecosystem that you're building so that you're always getting inbound clients, making life a hell of a lot easier on everyone involved. These social media platforms are free, and this is the Gold Rush, making it easier to make money online than any other time really in history. And there's more details on how you go about this, but the main thing to keep in mind is you want a lead magnet, some kind of long form video that establishes who you are and that you can show your clients authority and connection for the issue. So now we go to, what are your long form content ideas, right? Like I said, you have your origin, which is your mission or your vision, your North Star. When I started this, I was doing Uber for years, and even still now, grinding through those hours and just knowing that this isn't where you want to be, and deciding to be the person that you're going to be today and not letting anything stop you. That's kind of the origin of how I got there from Uber driver to business consultant in 30 days. I did that about being the person that you want to be. And I was driving Uber, and I was listening to podcasts. I was listening to all the books. I went to the coaching. I did Turo. I did so many different things of wanting to create wealth for me and for the people around me, and then ended up getting the mentorship that taught me the ways to do this online and how to do this, like the mechanics behind making it. And so I learned the system. I adopted the system to what I have. And so now that is where I'm at as far as creating impact, and giving people the system, giving people the framework, giving people the just add water formula to taking their ideas and putting action to it and creating real wealth from it. So that's kind of the origin of where I came from, of how I got here. Frameworks and tools. So this would be a framework for me, the free course. When I come on here, I talk about AI or ads, these different things. Those are actual frameworks that I use and that you can use to get more views, more sales, et cetera, et cetera. Tips and tricks. Objection handling. These are going to be the testimonials. These are going to be the sales calls. These are going to be the market research calls. Anything that helps people go over that edge to working with you. With attraction content as well, you can do like the mindfulness, or you at the gym, those kind of different offshoots of who you are as a person. Those also kind of go into this attraction category. And then once people people view your long form, and then you point them to your maybe a framework video or whatever your lead magnet, whatever your strongest video is. And then from there, you handle objections in the DMs, you handle objections in the comment section. The whole thing is you handling objections. And then by the time you get them to the call, it should be so easy and so many questions answered. The real difference on the call is, how well did you do before the call? How well was your offer made? How well was your content made? How well did you communicate these things? So the intake call is just so easy. So now we go to the hero's journey. This is where you're going through your own hero journey, and what you're doing is you're helping take somebody by the hand and go along with you through your journey, right? So it's going to be whatever your call to adventure was. I was sitting around doing this. I want to do this. You'll go through the conversation of how you got the mentor. You'll go through the temptations and challenges that you went through, imposter syndrome, and not believing in yourself, and friends and family did this or did that. You're going to have this thing where this big event happened. I said, I'm going to do it. I went through this challenge. I lost the weight. This is your transformation. And then this is how you get back to the person that you are today. So you're going to take people on this journey, and as you're making content, as you're talking to people, you're going to recognize where they are on this journey, and you're going to recognize where your customers are and what they need help with, from their biggest needs and pains to the payoff to the revelation, because you've been through all of it and because you already know what needs to be done. So taking your customer through your hero's journey is the shortcut to, again, making your offer, but also making content so easy. Now we're going to go to, what is the bare ass minimum? What is the absolute smallest amount that you need to post online to hit some of your goals? So you need to do long form. Long form is non-optional. YouTube has to be done. That's going to be the future of content. YouTube is a gold mine. 2 to 4 long form videos a month. And then if you do LinkedIn, you might want to go 1 to 3 posts a week. If you go IG, or no, you want to go 3 to 5 posts a week. So these numbers aren't crazy, and the idea is you want to focus on quality over quantity, but this is the bare ass minimum. And once you take the long form videos, you can always chop these up into more content for your IG and for your LinkedIn. So let's say you do the YouTube video, how to do XYZ in X amount of time. You take that transcript, you turn it into a LinkedIn post. You turn it into a written format. And from that long video, you make 3 to 4 short form videos on IG. One YouTube video can feed your whole algorithm. You can turn it into tweets, you can turn it into TikToks, etc. Now, one thing you do want to watch out for is you want to repurpose the content for whatever platform you're using. So if you're on IG or TikTok, you may want to do something specific to or for that platform, because even the dynamics of a YouTube video, 16 by 9 versus 9 versus 16, is going to look different on different wavelengths. So long story short, don't be lazy on repurposing your content. You can take the same exact thing you said in the YouTube video, but then take a video of yourself talking to it and put that on TikTok and IG, right? So you're doing the same thing you did on this camera, but do it in a way that's native to the platform you're using, right? If you're using Pinterest, you may use more pictures, right? Don't just be lazy and just chop and slop and pray and spray. Make it native to each one. Take your best performing content and remake it for each platform. So again, LinkedIn, you have your written Johns. YouTube, you have every month you have 2 to 4 videos that you create. And then you also have your IG where you have a combination of both. You know, because you can have a long written out caption as well with the video, or you can have a carousel, so many different options. But you want to make sure that you're adapting the content for each one, and maybe have the same content or the same thing you're saying, but in different formats. But that's the bare ass minimum to really get some traction going for what you're creating. And we'll kind of go into this point a little bit more in sales here. But you're going to get your leads from content. So we have something called laps. And we'll go again. We're going over this more in sales, but you have laps. So you have your leads you get. So let's say you get 100 leads. That's 100 people liking, commenting, etc. And from that, you get 10 appointments. And from those appointments, 2 people show up, and then you get 1 sale. So if you're not getting enough sales, if you're not getting enough appointments, one of the first things you want to do is change get more leads. So that means you might have to up this bare minimum. Or you might have to up your ads. You might have to up things that bring traffic to your page. So that you can get this number higher, you might need 200, right? But if your issue is from here to here, right, you have a different issue. If your issue from presentation to sale, then you need to get better at sales. But by keeping track of your content metrics, you can go further down the line on what content is actually moving the needle. So again, this is the ecosystem that you grow. You have ads. These are like Boost Post or Facebook ads on a good piece of short form that you make that communicates to your client, brings people to your page. You have a short form, you have a long story, you have your IG stories. Through all these things, you reach out to the people through their DM. When they hit you up naturally, hey, I have a question about XYZ. Can you help me with this? This is where you DM them and you build authority and trust. And whether it's your short form, long form, or DM, you have a lead magnet, a central page whether it's your origin story, whether it's your free course, that you bring everybody to that can answer the questions that they have. And from there, you send them the form to sign up for a call, and you have the call. And that's the complete ecosystem that makes your content work for you. It takes time to set up, and there's some, it seems very complex. Over time, you'll understand because it feeds into itself in such a way that you'll always have fresh people to contact. You always have fresh ideas. You always have a continuous flow of people seeing your content on different platforms. So now we get to sales, and this is the part that loses a lot of content creators. Think of it like if you go through a party or through a networking event, you have your best cologne on, you fresh, right? You got that on. You're going through the whole situation, the whole event, you're shaking hands, you're smiling, but at the end of the day, you get no meaningful connections or networks to help advance what you're doing. So you just went to this whole party, this whole event, you met all these people, you shook hands, and your suit looks nice. If you're posting content and you're just going viral, just doing it for that, that's what that is, essentially. And that is a route, and that's valid. But this is for creating money even with 100 followers, with 500, with 5,000 followers. This whole system isn't about becoming the most famous or most well-liked, or we're not here to win a popularity contest. This is to create a business for the people who matter to you. So again, we don't want to just be fresh and go to the networking event and not get anything where we help somebody or where somebody helped us. So that's what we're going to do with our sales system here. And so let's go through the different types of interactions you're going to get. So what you're going to get likes, you're going to get comments, and you're going to get DMers. Right? So this is warm, this is hot, and this is scalding. Only people that you're going to be talking to are people that are at least warm to you, commenters, or DMers. So what does that conversation look like without being too pushy or being too salesy? So you might say, hey, Greg, thanks for interacting with the post. That's good. How's everything going with your ex business? It seems like you have some very valuable offers. So somebody likes your or comments on your post. You hit them in a DM. Hey, thanks for interacting. Thanks for showing love. What made this funny? Or what, ask them a question relevant to the post. Very natural. You're just bumping into somebody at a networking event. You're talking to somebody. They respond, hey, how's everything with your ex business? Seems like a very valuable offer, especially at this time with everything going on. Cool. They get a response. Yeah, it's good. How's the growth for your business right now? Like, is it growing, or what are you doing to grow it right now? They respond, yeah, I'm having an issue growing it, and your post reminded me of this, that, the other. And then you ask, what are you doing for this business? Like, where are you trying to get to? What are you trying to create? And you're kind of going through this process of finding what is the problem, what is their pain, and how long they've been having this pain. And so that's kind of the next step here. We'll kind of go through that in gap selling, but this is just an example of what the DM will look like. From there, you have, if I have your permission, I can send more details over on that situation. You send over, you guessed it, your free resource, your lead magnet, your course, your origin story, your topic on that video. Whatever your main center of your ecosystem is at that time, you send them that training, you send them that update, and they can actually get answers that for what they have on it, and then you follow up after that. Hey, I sent you that video. How was it? Right, and this is how you just kind of pull people into your offer, pull people into your ecosystem, and you're not being pushy. Notice at no point did I say, buy my product, buy my course. At no point did I say that. I'm just asking, how's your business? And if it was a different, right, so how's your health? I see you're on a weight loss journey. How's your nutrition? I see you're fasting. I see you're doing this. How's your spirituality? How's your relationship with your family? I see that you did this, this, this. It's just being very natural and very appropriate for whatever it is that you're solving at that time. So my offer is content creation, wealth creation. Yours might be wealth and health. Yours might be helping women get husbands or helping men get, right, whatever. You're talking to your people. So just talk to them as if you met them right in the street. And so what we just did there is called gap selling. So you have a person and this person is here, and they want to be here. They want to be the big box on top of another box. They want to be here. What you're going to be doing in your calls and your DMs is you're going to be understanding what's the difference between these two for that person. So are they going from 10K to 50K? Are they going from X weight to Y weight? What transformation are they going to? And you're going to find the pain. You're going to find duration. And you're going to find the impact. And this kind of mirrors what happens once you're on a call as well. Pain, duration, and impact. That's what builds that gap and what makes the transformation so worth it. Their pain is they don't have enough time to hang with their family. How long has that been going on? Oh, for a couple of years now since I got this new promotion. Okay, cool. Like, what impact would that have on you if that continued? Oh, well, man, I think that, my daughter's going to college soon. I think it wouldn't be good if we didn't have some bonding time before she went off to college. My kid is graduating, whatever. My wife just got back from a trip. I think it'd be really important for us to have time together. Okay, I have a time, this is where if you had a time optimization offer, for instance, you'll find the pain, the duration, and the impact or intensity that they're having to actually make this worth it. Like, again, that goes back to what we were saying, the bleeding neck offer. Like, a really impactful offer is stuff that attacks all of this and makes this worth it. You can't go without this. I can show you how to get your time back so you can spend time with your family. That's invaluable. Only thing we have is time. You can't replace it once it's gone. So saving somebody time is a very impactful offer. But if you say, I help people save time, it makes, nobody doesn't mean anything to anybody. And then when you speak to people, you're going for these different, these different impact metrics. So then again, you're going to have somebody book a call with you. You're going to have them confirm. And when you have the person confirm, let's say you go through the whole DM, you send them the course, the training, the resource, and they're like, if I have your permission, may I send you this intake form? Cool. You send them the intake form. And you stay, I want to make sure that we're locked in. I want to make sure there's no schedule issues. I'm going to stay online for the next 30 minutes. Make sure that you confirm it, and I'll relay to you, make sure that we're on the same page. So once you send them the link, just don't send them the link. Stay on the line with them. Build some urgency of they need to book this appointment now because that just increases your conversion rate of people actually showing up to the appointment, of people actually setting the appointment. Is right in that moment you want to make sure that you build that, hey, let's get this booked now so we can figure it all out. Once they book, you're going to have thank you email or thank you video, just letting them know these are next steps, and then here's a training video after that video sales letter, or it might be the free resource. If you already sent them a free resource, it is what it is. But here's the stuff you need to know before going in, and thank you for showing up. So you're setting up all these different steps so that you're increasing your conversion rate and making the sale as easy as you can and as objectionless as possible. So again, this is going to be the sales process, and this is going to be a little bit more for when you're actually on the phone. You have your pre-pitch and qualify. This is the DMing. This is when they go to your intake form. You're going to ask them questions like, how much do you have to invest? Do you actually have that on hand? You're going to ask them questions. Are they the key decision maker? You're going to ask them the same questions before. How long has this been a problem? And this is all customizable to what your offer is, right, of what the actual question is. But how long has this been a pain? What is your pain? What's the biggest thing that you want to accomplish over the next 3 months? Something like that. You want to get the actual facts on the ground, their social media handles, so that you can understand this person in and out before you get on the call. And you qualify them with your questions. So if your program is $500, you want to ask them, do they have $500? It's probably going to cost $500 if we have a lot of people working with us. Does this even sound like something that, would be in your range? Do you have access to these resources, whatever it is? You want to pre-qualify them as much as possible so that you don't waste your time. And once you're in the sales process, it's going to be much of the same that we discussed earlier. thank you for being on the call. What are problems that you're having right now? What can be solved? How long has it been a problem? What is the impact it's having on your business and your lifestyle? And you're kind of just easing into these questions of understanding their issue and having them feel their issue in that moment, so that you're both on the same page of diagnosing what it is and what's going to be the most impactful for them out of your program or out of your offer. And then once you do all of that, you want to go handle some objections, right? So before we continue, I just want to make sure, are you the key decision maker? You said you had roughly this much amount. Is that accurate, or did you? Okay, cool. You got that? Cool. You just want to take a temperature check, because people might say whatever they want to say on the questionnaire, but you'll say, I just want to make sure I'm saving your time and make sure that we're even on the same page. This even makes sense before we go forward. You want to check those pre-pitch problems and questions before you continue and do your pitch and all this other stuff. Just check in, make sure that you're on the same page, and then you go forward. And from there, you're going to have kind of your pitch. So, like I said, we can help you. We understand what your situation is. From everything you told me, we can definitely help you. And before we go forward, I just want to make sure that everything makes sense so far. Cool, makes sense. But after that, you go over. So after that, you say, everything's okay with you. I'm going to show you a little bit of the process of how we can make that happen and what are the different options that we have to help you with that if I can go forward with that. So then you go over your process and focus on whatever the biggest thing to them is. Yes, you have a weight loss program that can do fasting, and you help them on biking and Peloton, but what's important to them? If their thing's nutrition, you need to focus on nutrition, 80%, and then 20% talk about other stuff. If their thing is they want to be the best cyclist, you focus on whatever they want, 80%, 20%, the other features that you have, and say, once you do this, we can do this, this, and this. But you want to make sure that you make it relevant again. What's in it for them? Then again, you go temp check. From everything you shared, how do you feel? And this one, you can make it a little funny, make it a little engaging. Like 10, you want to, 10 is amazing, you're ready to go. Or 1 is, you're going to block me on Facebook after this, right? You just want to make it kind of fun and kind of, you want to have a little pace to it. Like, this isn't a serious grilling of you wanting money or whatever. You're cool either way, but you just want to make sure that they're comfortable with this process and to see where they are. And if they say, I'm good, I'm at a 8, 9, or 10, then you go forward the process. You're close to closing. If they're anything below an 8, a 7, 6, they missed something. There's something they didn't quite get. So you're in this handle objections portion here of the pitch process. So then you go back over your process, you go back over the issues and hammer out whatever they need or the specifics to help them get to where they need to get. Again, explain, is there anything else you need to know as we go through this process? Do you know everything? Okay, what do you need to know to get you to an 8, 9, or 10? And then from there, you go transition into the investment. So here's the X. So for this, I recommend this program is going to be X amount that you're going to invest, and we're going to fix that problem that you have. And then you get it to objection handling. This is the genius of having the pre-call questions and handling everything up front. If they say, what's going to be the most common objections? Time. Well, this is we've already established that this is the most important thing for you over the next 3 months. What do you have more time for other than this? Oh, it's the cost. Well, on the on my questionnaires, it said you had X amount to invest. Was that a mistake? Okay, no, do you actually? Okay. No, I need to talk to my wife about it. Oh, no, okay, you said you were the key decision maker on the questionnaire. Did you click the wrong button or, right? So you've already attacked most of these objections before they get it. That's the key to handling some of these objections. And then you either go further from that, again, of keeping it very casual, keeping it very two people talking, right? Oh, you need to talk to your wife? But what do you think that she would need to know for you to make this investment? Don't you think that she would want you to improve your health or improve your time management, right? You said you're a key decision maker. What further information do you need to, right? And so you kind of hold firm on some of these objections because it usually is a smokescreen of fear, of confusion. Maybe you didn't explain something right. You hold firm on that, at least for the first 2 smokescreens. And after 2 times of them saying or coming up with different excuses, then you might really want to take a step back and say, okay, maybe I missed something, maybe I didn't explain something properly, maybe this person is wasting my time. After, give it at least 2 objections before you step back and you say, okay, I need to reevaluate what's happening here because I'm not where I think I am. But again, a lot of these are going to be a very objections that you answer at the beginning of the call to make everything else so much easier. I don't have the time. It costs too much. Can we do split pay? Can we do this? My partner, what's my partner going to think? What's the commitment on this? So you're going to have these different objections that they're going to have. You can already see them coming, and you want to make sure that you kill them as early as possible. So that time, by the time you get down to solve process and deal signed investment, everything's kosher. So next part is you want to make sure that you track everything. And this can be as simple as just an Excel that you put together, but understand what's going into it, right? So Monday, you might have hit 10 people, lazy day. Then you hit 100 people Tuesday, 100 people for the rest of the week. So that gives you 410 total leads, right? Out of those 410, let's say you get 10 appointments. That's a little low. Let's say you get 40 appointments. So now you got 10% DM to call percentage. Now, out of those 40 appointments, 10 people show up. 25% show rate. And then from there, you get 2 sales. So that's your close rate, right? So you know every step of the process, and it shows you what you need to do going forward because you're actually tracking it. So if you're not getting enough leads, you're not putting enough DMs. If you're not getting enough appointments, something's off in your DM process where you're not getting people to close the appointment. Maybe you're forgetting to ask them to set the appointment while you're online with them. Maybe you're being a little too pushy. Maybe you're being too loose. Maybe you're not addressing what the problem is that they have and actually having the conversation with a good flow. Maybe the leads aren't what you need, right? So you'll have different data of what you need. Usually this is your DM process, just isn't tuned in, and that would lead to low appointments. So that's what you need to address. And then from appointments to presentations, this one is more about your follow-up. So your email, VSL, or your thank you video, and your resources that you use to keep them on a journey until their presentation. So if they book this week and they have next week, they have 2 videos and 2 emails to keep them engaged and keep them here, keep them looking towards this presentation that you have. So if you have a problem between appointments and presentations, it might be your systems might be off. And then from presentations to sales, of course, that's just your sales. That's your sales skill. We all have to get better at sales. We all have to put the work in. But this way you can understand what is breaking down and what isn't working if you're not getting results, or what's really good if you are getting results. And you can understand exactly what's going on of slow months versus, right? So on a month where you only hit 30 people a day and you get 150 leads, you might get less sales than if you had 410 leads. It's about the work that you put in. Really, the goal is going to be 50 a day. 50 outbound a day, any follow-up DMs that you have. So again, this goes for keeping track of whatever your prospect is. So this is your acquisitions, right? If you have different products, you want to know what did you close on that week. So you have 5 people sign up for your newsletter. You had 2 group coaching clients and you ended up with $20,000 in revenue this week. So when you have different products, you want to understand what did you sell? How much did you make each week, and track everything. Your content ads. If you're buying content ads, so if you have content ads that you're putting money into $5 a day, $10 a day, you understand how many new followers does that get you? How many are qualified? How many are actually followers that are relevant to what you're doing? How much money are you spending? And you're continuing to break this down, cost per follower, right? How many calls booked did you get out of that versus how much did you spend? So we're tracking all of our numbers, and that is the key component that a lot of businesses don't do. They have a slow week, they have a slow month, and they're confused about it. They had a good week last week, and they expected it just to continue, but they didn't put in the same amount of work they did for that good week on their bad week, and that's why they had a bad week. Once you have the numbers, you can understand everything else from there. So once you have your offer first, everything else follows. Thanks for tapping in today. We have links, resources in the box below. Follow me on all socials. Hope I helped you out today. Leave in the comments any questions, anything that I can help you with going forward. Appreciate you.